Well, good morning, class. Today we're going to be talking about, we'll talk a little bit about graphing your trig functions. Then we'll talk about writing equations from a graph. So you'll be given a graph and you have to determine the function that it is and the equation that made it. And then lastly, you're going to be given information about a graph like the amplitude and the period. And there too, you also have to write an equation. So let's start off with some review, and let's look at graphing our functions. So our first function says 3 cosine 2x. So remember the first things that we always look for. One of the first things is the amplitude. So let's take a look at the equation and see the number in front. That's our amplitude. So in this case, our amplitude is 3. Then the next thing we need to find is k. So looking here, what's in front of x is 2. So k is 2. We use k to find our period. So by k being 2, our period is going to be faster than 2 pi, which is the normal period of cosine. So to find our period, we put 2 pi over k, which is 2. The 2's cancel and we end up with a period of pi. So now that we have a period of pi, we need those 4 angle measures. And just because of room, I'm going to keep all the information up here. So we divide pi into 4 equal parts. So pi divided by 4 is pi over 4. So that'll be 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, and 4 pi over 4. Okay, so here we'll do our actual reducing where necessary, and this should be a 4. All right, so our first point is pi over 4. Our second point was 2 pi over 4, which reduces to pi over 2. Third point, 3 pi over 4. And our last point is 4 pi over 4, which reduces to pi. So remember that your last point should also be what you evaluated to get your period. Since our amp is 3, our range is from negative to positive 3. And remember, cosine is max, 0, min, 0, max. So once you plot your points, go ahead and draw your cosine function. Remember, solve curves and do the best you can. All right, next is our sine function. Notice it's negative. So that negative is going to cause the graph to flip. So just write yourself a note that the graph flips. And our amplitude is 1. Remember, it's distance, so it's always positive. K is pi over 2. So now we need to find our period, which is going to be 2 pi over pi over 2. So this pi over 2 flips and you multiply. So 2 pi over 1 times 2 over pi. Pi's cancel and your period is going to be 4. So of course 4 divided by 4 is 1. So then your points are just 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice we ended. Our last point is also our period. Sine function, since our amp is 1, it goes from negative to positive 1. And remember, it flips because of the negative sign. So we'll have 0, min, 0, max, 0. And draw your function. All right, so that was some review. So now let's get to some other parts of being able to now interpret graphs. So we need to write a function or write an equation that created this graph. So take a look at the fact that this graph is going through 0. So that lets us know that it's the sine function. Notice it's going from -4 to +4. So that makes our amplitude 4. Now we need to find k. So we want to look for how many periods does this function have between 0 and 2 pi. So if it's the sine function, it goes 0 max, 0 min, 0. So it started at 0, reached its max and minimum values, and came back to 0 by 2 pi, and it did that all in one cycle. So that means that k is 1. So our function is y equals 4 sine x. And that's how easy it is. Remember, k is the number of cycles between 0 and 2 pi. So once you determine what the function is, count the cycles according to the function's patterns. All right, let's look at the next one. B. Let's take a look. This function is starting at 1, going through 0, hitting a minimum of -1, coming back to 0, coming back to 1. So that's a cosine function. 2 pi is right here. Cosine is max 0 min 0 max. It's going from negative to +1. So that means that my amplitude is 1. And let's count the number of cycles from 0 to 2 pi. So max 0 min 0 max 1, max 0 min 0 max 2, max 0 min 0 max 3, max 0 min 0 max 4. So it had 4 cycles. That means k is 4. So our equation is y equals, amp is 1, so we don't have to show that, cosine 4x. Another clue, cosine are what I call valleys. You can just count the valleys from 0 to 2 pi. 1, 2, 3, 4. K is 4. So that's a shortcut if you'd like to take it. All right, let's go to the next page. And let's look at C. So here, it's starting again on the axis. So this is our cosine function. Let's take our shortcut. Here's 0, here's 2 pi. Let's count the valleys. 1, 2, 3. So that means that our amp is 1, k is 3. So our equation is y equals cosine 3x. Great. All right, last one. Take a look at this function. It's starting or going through 0. 2 pi is right here. I know it's hard to see, but here's 2 pi. Because this is going through 0, this is our sine function. Be careful about your amplitude. It's past 1, but it's not quite to 2. So that means that our amplitude is 1.5 or 1.5. So now your sine function has what I call hills and valleys. The number of hills and the number of valleys will match between 0 and 2 pi. So we can do the same thing we did for cosine, either count the hills or count the valleys. I'm going to count my valleys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have k equals 4. Now, if you want to go through the cycles, you can. It's sine. So 0 max, 0 min, 0. That's 1. 0 max, 0 min, 0. That's 2. 0 max, 0 min, 0. That's 3. 0 max, 0 min, 0. That's 4. So notice, either way you do it, you get the same answer, and they're both correct. So our function is y equals 1.5 sine 4x. Okay, now let's write an equation just given some information. So let's look at number 1. It says write a sine function with an amplitude of 25 and a period of pi over 4. Now this is a period of pi over 4. This is not k, but you use this information to find k. So our period is given by 2 pi over k. And in this case, our period is pi over 4. So 2 pi over k equals pi over 4. Cross multiply. So you'll have k pi equals 8 pi. We need k by itself, so divide both sides by pi. Cancel out the pi's, and k is 8. So this is a sine function, amplitude of 25. Our equation is y equals 25 sine 8x. All right, let's go to the next one. We're writing a cosine function, amplitude of 5 over 8, period of 6 pi. So we need to find k. So 2 pi over k equals 6 pi, and you can put that over 1 if you like. All right, so we'll have k 6 pi equals 2 pi. Divide both sides by 6 pi. Cancel your pi's. And k equals, this is 2 over 6, but we want to reduce that to 1/3. So y equals 5 over 8 cosine. Since there's a 1 at the top, we can just put that as x over 3 instead of putting 1/3 x. I was trying to bring that last one up some. I may not be able to, so I hope that you're able to see it. If not, you can listen. So we have our sine function, amplitude of 5. We need to find k. We have a period of pi over 7. So 2 pi over k equals pi over 7. Cross multiply, k pi equals 14 pi. Divide by pi, and k equals 14. So your equation is y equals 5 sine 14x. Okay, well, good luck. You now have a worksheet to complete. So complete your worksheet and make sure you turn it in at the end of class. Have a great day.